Nico Imaliava and the 2024 Vols have officially entered game week. UT Chattanooga coming to Rocky Top to face one of Josh Heupel's deepest teams. So how does the team look in week one of the season? Let's get into it. I'm Paige Dower. This is the Field Pass. Firstly, I am absolutely overwhelmed by the intense and immense level of support you all have shown me since launching Full Disclosure Productions in April, because just in 4 months, we have already surpassed and exceeded the 1,000 subscriber mark on YouTube, which is just an incredible mark to have already met just in 4 months. So truly, thank you so much for everyone who has liked or subscribed or engaged in any way in my content and in Jimmy Hymes's interviews for The Rewind. We truly appreciate every single bit of it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, let this be a sign to do just that. Okay, back to Tennessee football, which is what we're all here for. UT Chattanooga coming to Rocky Top to take on Nico Imaliava in the 2024 Vols. For Nico, it's his first start inside Neyland Stadium, his second in the orange and white, but his first season as a true full-time starter. All during training camp, we've continuously heard how Nico is continuing to develop. He's got a strong command of the offense, but where are we seeing that transpire most? A lot of the conversation today when Josh Heupel took the podium was about those red zone opportunities. How are they looking? How are they connecting with the offense, whether running backs or with a wide receiver? How is the O-line holding up? Now, during practice and fall camp or preseason camp, we don't get to see much of their red zone opportunities, but it's definitely an area that they have continued to hammer out details when it comes to communication, comes to those connections. Today, Josh Heupel even mentioning that they're still spending a ton of time making sure that they're able to capitalize on their opportunities. We'll see how that transpires on Saturday, but it's a sign that there's still some connections that they're trying to make, and maybe it's not as strong or maybe it's not as strong of an aspect of their game as it is in other aspects. As far as Nico's overall growth and command of the offense, veteran right guard Javonte Spraggin says everyone can see Nico has a strong understanding of the offense, and in turn it's created a greater bond across the offense.
He's a kid that come in and wants to work, wants to be that guy, and that's what everybody expects from him. So for him to come in and have that motivation already and have that mental standpoint, it just makes us even more connected as a team and ready to go out and fight for him.
And beyond the hype around Nico, there's equal excitement across the board, especially if we just hone in on offense. Right guard Javonte Spraggin saying, especially in that running back room, there is deep talent there, saying that running back room is crazy. And Javonte Spraggin says that, they're basically ready just to go ahead and create those gaps for the running backs to take advantage of.
And we got a room full of guys who are ready to get the ball and run for however many yards we give them. So the running back room is crazy, man. I'm looking to see what we got coming out of there, and I just know a lot of those guys, they're ready for the opportunity to jump at it.
An aspect of Josh Heupel's offense that college football fans, or more importantly, Tennessee fans, fell in love with right away was the high-octane part of his offense. And where do you get that high-octane part? It's in those deep threat possibilities or opportunities. It's in those chunk plays, which we saw a lot of in a 2022 Hendon Hooker-led team. Took a bit of a dip in 2023. Does it resurge and come back in 2024? So far, it seems that it'll absolutely be kind of the identity of the offense, where it'll be just as run-heavy as it is pass-heavy. You look at that wide receiver room, the stock is continuing to rise in that room. You just name a couple of them. You think of a couple of them, and you've got Squirrel White or Broom McCoy, Chris Brazzell, Chaz Nimrod, and so many more. But specifically, when Squirrel White was talking earlier today, he continued to highlight how important it is to get those deep threat connections, and he says it all comes down to communication and making sure everyone is on the same page.
I feel like it won't take any time for him to grow in that position. He has already grown in that position during fall camp and even in the spring. Just being that leader for us in that quarterback room.
When we go back to Tennessee's media day, when I asked Squirrel White, where do you believe you've improved the most? He says it's in those tight coverage opportunities, when it's those 50-50 balls, contested catches. That has continued here in training camp, specifically with Boo Carter and Christian Harrison, challenging him in those moments to get better. He spoke so highly both of Boo Carter and Christian Harrison and just their ability to make plays in their star position. And again, just challenging Squirrel White to continue to improve his game.
Yeah, just the looks that I have been getting for the defense. Boo Carter make me go harder every day. Jordan Thomas, when he was here, Christian Harrison made me become special and stuff like that.
On the defense, specifically in that secondary unit, Andre Turntine also spoke earlier today. He's a player, after transferring from OSU, is a player that has waited his turn, not always patiently, but has waited his turn to be a key contributor, if not a full-time starter for Tennessee this season. But in the depth chart, you don't really learn too much about who will be that starter, as every other position is listed as or. But right now, Andre Turntine could be one of those leaders on defense, taking a lot of those first team snaps and first team reps for Tennessee. And he also talked about Christian Harrison and Boo Carter and just the improvement that they've made. And despite Boo Carter being a freshman, he is a vocal player on defense and has made a seamless transition from high school to now to be a key contributor in that star position, of course, after Jordan Thomas went down with that season-ending injury earlier in fall camp. Understanding what Coach Banks is trying to get done, even more so Andre Turntine fully understanding what their mission is on defense as well, and just, again, waiting for his opportunity to finally come to fruition here this season.
How last year finished up in not so much in a game setting, but how practice and how the meeting rooms have finished up and how they translated and went into the summer, went into the spring, and now here we are. I feel like I'm all the much better. I'm more confident. I understand what Coach Banks as a defense is trying to get done. I understand what Coach Heupel as a team, what he wants to get done. I understand the mission, and leading these guys has been my main focus. I understand that as long as we take care of little things, that the big things will take care of themselves.
Outside of Nico Imaliava, two players who have really created a ton of excitement and buzz around them after preseason fall camp has been Jermod McCoy on defense and Chris Brazzell on offense. Those two going at each other every single day in practice, really emphasizing the idea of iron sharpens iron. Andre Turntine even saying that McCoy's had a great preseason fall camp, going as far as saying he's made plays he's not seen another corner make here at Tennessee.
I think he's electric. I think him with the ball in his hands, he can do damage. Also think that him covering an offense, he does damage as well.
So really the key takeaways from the first press conference of the first game week of the season is there's a ton of confidence within the team. They've got great leaders across the board, and they now kind of feel like a gelled unit. There's a great bond that each position group and then each side of the ball and then the team overall has been able to create with each other throughout preseason fall camp, whether studying film together, getting dinner together, or just really pushing each other very hard here during camp and now into what we will consider practice and the 2024 season. So I believe there's a lot to be encouraged by. They've answered a lot of question marks that we've had throughout the season. Maybe who's going to be those key starters, take a lot of those key snaps. But I think a lot of people need to be excited about what will happen specifically on offense. When you look at the wide receiver room, all of those guys could be starters anywhere they go. The running back room now with Peyton Lewis and Cam Seldon considered to be full goes, and you've got guys like Deshaun Bishop and Dylan Sampson still ready to be key contributors there. And then on defense, that is at the line specifically has a ton of depth. They've kind of answered some questions when it comes to the secondary and how those guys have really progressed. You've got guys like Jermod McCoy, who will be a key player. Andre Turntine will take key snaps. And then it'll probably really go between Boo Carter and Christian Harrison at that star position. So I believe this team will really take the field and click right away with what we've heard and the impression that's been made here during preseason fall camp. But we've got more coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday with the offense and defense talking. So I will chat with you guys on Tuesday for another, press conference, practice game report leading up until the week. But again, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't done so, please do so. It goes a long way in supporting myself and Jimmy Himes. But looking forward to a great 2024 season, and I'm so happy to have all of you guys there for the ride with me. Talk to you guys tomorrow.